Lord Timothy Dexter, the most interesting man in the world. Literally. Imagine a man so seemingly stupid that he tries to sell coal to a mining town, bed warmers in the tropics, and Bibles in a Muslim country, and yet somehow turns it all into a fortune bigger than Elon's annual child support bill. This guy's life was the human equivalent to those cheating death compilation videos where people narrowly escape catastrophe in spectacular fashion. Except when this guy escapes death, he also seems to win the lottery at the same time. This is the tale of Timothy Dexter, an 18th century eccentric who fumbled his way to fame and fortune. Let's dive into history's luckiest legend, Lord Timothy Dexter. Born on January 22, 1747, in the humble hamlet of Malden, Massachusetts, Timothy Dexter started life as the ultimate underdog, a farmhand with zero education scraping by in the shadow of the American Revolution. By age 16, Dexter apprenticed as a leather dresser, a modest job tanning hides. But Dexter wasn't content with mediocrity. Oh no, this guy had ambition, and he was totally unburdened by any of that pesky intellect or self-awareness that would cause any normal human to second-guess himself. At 21, Dexter settled in Newburyport, a bustling town in Massachusetts, and snagged himself a wealthy widow named Elizabeth Frothingham. She was 32, loaded with cash from her late husband's estate, and came with kids in tow. Now, I ain't saying he's a gold digger, but he ain't messing with no broke widows.
I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
Dexter used his wife's mountain of cash to play the market during the Revolutionary War, snapping up worthless Continental currency for pennies on the dollar. Everyone laughed at him for doing this as the currency was worthless. But then, in a surprise move, the new US government honored those outdated notes. Boom, instant millionaire. But here's what most people don't know about Dexter's Continental currency gamble. According to historical records, he didn't just buy randomly. He noticed that wealthy merchants like John Hancock were quietly buying up the so-called worthless notes. When everyone else saw toilet paper, Dexter saw opportunity. Historical documents show he claimed to have made $47,000. That's about $1.6 million in today's money from one investment.
$1 million.
The guy basically won the lottery by paying attention to what rich people were doing when they thought nobody was watching. In spite of his wealth, high society elites utterly rejected Timothy Dexter. It was like an 18th century version of the movie Mean Girls, but with dudes.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Undeterred, he dubbed himself Lord Timothy Dexter. The guy was saying, "I identify as," way before it was cool.
I identify as a lord.
Dexter built an ornate mansion flanked with statues of great men like George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Napoleon, and of course, himself. Not once, but twice, 2 statues, just in case you missed the first one. This is what a lot of people expected Mount Rushmore to look like about 2 weeks after Donald Trump became president. That never happened, but maybe one day. We can still dream, guys. These statues cost Dexter $2,000 each to commission. That's like $70,000 per statue today. When he died, they sold at auction for between 50 cents and $5. But most ended up as firewood, from $70,000 to kindling. Even in death, Dexter's investments were hilariously unpredictable. Oh, and he once shot at his painter with a pistol when the guy refused to paint the Constitution on Jefferson's statue. He missed, thankfully, and the painter kept working for him because apparently attempted murder was just another Tuesday at Casa del Dexter. Dexter then decided to become a shipping magnate despite having less business acumen than the marketing team at Bud Light. Jealous merchants eager to bankrupt Dexter fed him terrible advice as a joke. The crazy thing is, he did exactly what they said. First, he shipped 42,000 bed warmers to the West Indies. Back in the 18th century, people used brass pans filled with hot coals to warm their beds on chilly nights. But the Caribbean is like a 24-hour hot yoga class year-round. Turns out the bed warmers were perfect ladles for scooping up molasses, which was a major business there. The bed warmers sold out instantly and at a premium. Dexter made a fortune. His merchant prankster friends tried again. Ship coal to Newcastle, England, they said. Newcastle is the literal birthplace of coal mining. It would be like selling kangaroos to Australia. But again, he did it. What a moron, right? Wrong. Again, the universe had Dexter's back. His shipment arrived smack in the middle of a miners' strike. Coal prices had skyrocketed. Dexter unloaded his cargo for triple the value. These episodes alone would have cemented the man's legacy as the most unintentional genius in history. But wait, there's more. His merchant frenemies then advised him to export woolen mittens to the Caribbean. And again, Dexter made a fortune. It just so happened that Portuguese traders were passing by, bound for frigid Siberia. When Newburyport had a stray cat problem, Dexter put ads in the newspaper offering to buy every cat in town. Everyone thought he'd lost his mind. He then shipped the cats to the Caribbean, where the plantations were overrun with mice. Warehouse owners paid premium prices for these world-class rat catchers. Try explaining that business model on Shark Tank. He then shipped Christian Bibles to the East Indies, an entirely Islamic region of the world. But missionaries there paid top dollar, turning another insane Dexter venture into a windfall. And perhaps craziest of all, Dexter once accidentally bought 340 tons of whalebone. He thought he was buying ship-rigging supplies while drunk at an auction. But as it turned out, French fashion had just created a massive demand for whalebone corsets. Dexter controlled the entire market in the US and sold at a 75% markup. The man failed upward so hard, gravity should have filed a complaint. At one point, Dexter hired a personal poet laureate, a 20-year-old fish merchant named Jonathan Plummer. His job, write poems praising Dexter. One of the verses read, "Lord Dexter is a man of fame. Most celebrated is his name. Step aside Shakespeare, there's a new bard in town." He also built a library in his house. One problem, Dexter could barely read. The library was purely for show. The man was pulling a fake flex before Instagram ever existed. Timothy Dexter eventually penned his literary masterpiece titled A Pickle for the Knowing Ones, published in 1802. This was a rambling rant against politicians, priests, and his wife, with zero punctuation. It was like reading a drunkard's diary through a kaleidoscope. Complaints poured in. So, for the second edition, he printed at the end of the book a full page of commas, periods, and exclamation points, writing, "Fellows, salt and pepper as you please," suggesting that the reader insert the punctuation themselves. The book went through 8 editions during his lifetime. College professors now study his work. There are scholarly papers about his punctuation page. Academia is analyzing the philosophical implications of pepper and salt it as they please. We really do live in the best timeline. Here's the thing. This book sold like ambrosia hotcakes from Mount Olympus. Absolute legend. Timothy Dexter hit peak legend status when he faked his own death at age 58 in 1805. For the funeral, he hired 3,000 actors to mourn his death. He hid in the shadows to spy on the proceedings, to see who showed up, and to hear what they'd say. But his wife Elizabeth didn't seem sad at all.
Oh, I'm flying straight to Bali after this. A little yoga, a little surfing. It's a total vibe.
Enraged, Dexter jumped out and caned her in front of everyone. It was the Will Smith Chris Rock Academy Award slap of 1805.
Oh, wow!
After the funeral fiasco, Dexter's actual death was almost anticlimactic. He died on October 23, 1806 at age 56 after imbibing copious amounts of wine and liquor. After living a life of what can only be called truly the most interesting man in the world, Timothy Dexter got a simple grave in the Old Hill burying ground. His tombstone, plain as vanilla. The ultimate anticlimax for history's most extra human. His son Samuel, a reckless drunk, inherited most of the massive estate, and he lost it all within 15 years. I guess Dexter's lucky horseshoe, wherever he was smuggling it, went with him to the grave. Dexter's mansion still stands in Newburyport, which you can still visit today. And even after death, Dexter's insanity lives on. Modern economists have actually studied Dexter's success. Some argue he wasn't lucky at all. He was just too ignorant to know his ideas were supposed to fail. While smart merchants overthought everything, Dexter operated on pure instinct and stumbled into market gaps nobody else saw. There's actually a term for this, the Dexter paradox, when somebody succeeds not despite their ignorance, but because of it. I guess sometimes it pays to be too dumb to know you can't do something. So was Dexter the luckiest man in the world, or just a guy with a DeLorean and an almanac? That's for you to decide. The moral of this story, life is a game of luck. So next time you face a difficult decision, just think, what would Timothy Dexter do? And then probably don't do that, because that would be crazy. If you laughed at this video, do what Timothy Dexter would do and smash that subscribe button and check out other strange tales. We're digging up more of history's weirdest stories every day, so hit that like button, share this with your friends, and remember, stay strange.